sometimes I have a producer calling me from the West or from LA saying, I'm casting for an Arab doctor, and I try to get someone Saudi to go and audition there, someone that is well represented, because the misrepresentation has gone far, 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 too far. So it's long overdue, and I think there is no excuse to have something misrepresented when the world is open this much.
And given your recent announcement of nine films with Telfaz, and your close collaboration with NBC, how do you anticipate these partnerships contributing to the cultivation of new talent within the industry?
Again, I think it's the opportunity to work closely with industry, understanding where the skills gaps are and how we help train to fill those gaps as well. So it's not just happening organically, that it is happening in a structured and integrated way, but also providing the right conditions that, that those projects can happen on the ground. We talk about why is this emergence happening, either, talent that's been sleeping out there or the emerging talent. It's because, there's a maturity now and a confidence that people want to see their own stories on the screen, not other people's stories or other cultures. And why shouldn't, that be the case for our region? And, with that, you mentioned Telfaz, they're working with big streamers now internationally. We're creating, as long as we can create the right environment for them to produce those stories in the region locally, that creates the opportunities right across the value chain. Like I said, whether it's people in front of the camera, behind the camera, that's creating that opportunity that historically hasn't existed. So it's really about as integrated as you can, supporting those young producers with the right mechanisms, and then ensuring the right infrastructure's there so that where they can produce at a relatively lower cost than they would have if they have to go elsewhere, and that it can happen in their backyard to tell the stories they want to tell from here to the world.
And I mean, talking about international and elsewhere, Zeinab, can you talk about what your strategy is to perhaps push more Saudi talents to work on international productions?
We always we believe that this would be a very unique opportunity for our trainees. Whenever there is availability, or whenever we are in charge of or we're producing a English-speaking or a Western or a Hollywood film, that it becomes, because it's going to be a massive set, it's going to be high investment. So we always make sure that this set doesn't come and leave and just as if nothing happened. It needs to leave something. It needs to leave people that have been trained, benefits that have been impacted by it. So they become a hot set to really try to pack in as much as trainees as possible. But also with our relationships, like having trainees on set is something we do because it's part of our scope, and we do in Academy we have 8 programs that do different kind of trainings. Last year it was 23,000 trainees who benefited from what we've been doing, and it's
23,000
23,000
over what sort of period?
over a year.
Okay.
From very different.
Like how much by project?
Huh?
How many by
All right,
project?
so because we have 8 programs, we've got the program, for example, the onset training would be 1,000, all right? But we have also online classes, semesters, those would be, for example, 2,000. So we have different programs to give us different numbers. And the level of training is sometimes high impact, sometimes more educational and not vocational on set. So it depends on what program you've chosen. We've got scholarship. Scholarship is not very high in numbers because it's abroad and it's away. So those are around 30, 40 people usually. But we have to do different intervals, like high impact, low impact, concentrated, quality,
Amazing.
quantity.
I had 4 Saudis filmmakers trained with me in Sudan for Goodbye Julia, by the way.
Really?
Yeah.
And are they
through
part of?
through الهيئة, through
They
the
weren't
association.
academy? All right, we're
Yeah.
all
Not-
we're all
See?
happy
Oh, okay.
that they've been, but because we do train for other companies, and other companies also train. This is the way to do it because and in terms of international, what I was trying to say is, so this is our scope, but with our connections, with our partnerships, sometimes I have a producer calling me from the West or from LA saying I'm casting for an Arab doctor, and I try to get someone Saudi to go and audition there, or someone that is well represented, because the misrepresentation has gone far, 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 too far. So it's long overdue, and I think there is no excuse to have something misrepresented when the world is open this much. And so that's what we're trying. We try to help them, even though the film is not ours. We don't have anything to do with it, but we try to push. The stars might not be ours also, but we try to make it as much as possible a win-win in terms of one of the local talents is making it, and if there's an international thing coming out, we do it justice with the good representation.
Could you talk just a little bit more, just briefly, on that sort of misrepresentation and why it has gone too far?
I don't know why it has been too far. It shouldn't. But in general, we've grew up watching all the films representing Arabs a certain way, and with the level of detail that Hollywood and the accuracy that Hollywood has in everything, I don't know how they get it wrong that long. Like, you have to think, right?
Still.
Even in music, like a lot of scores that are meant to be in Baghdad are Indian with a sitar.
Like,
I'm
they
like,
cannot,
basic Googling, like just Google it. It's not even.
So it's not so.
It's not just
you
for the
see a
characters.
director that goes the length of commissioning the China company that did the same China of that period. Like, it's a lot of detail, right? Why aren't you getting the headgear right? Like, why is it right?